Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's class. Tonight, we're going to be speaking about something that is near and dear to my heart and to each and every one of you. Tonight's topic is pain. Why is this near and dear to everybody's heart? Because when it happens, it sucks, right? But do you know how much of your nervous system sends pain signals? Leave it in the comment below. Curious, how much do you think of your body feels pain? We're going to get to that at the end. So believe it or not, our body's pain response is a good thing. It tells us that there's something wrong. Something is not how it should be or not correct. And we should listen to that, like a check engine light in your car. If you're one of those people that puts the tape over the check engine light, stop it. However, I understand those people exist and those people come into me all the time. And unfortunately, what typically happens is people come in, regardless whether they're the tape over the engine light or not, and they think that one adjustment's going to solve everything. I wish that were the case. I would charge a lot more if it were, but unfortunately, that's not the case, right? The case is, once you're in pain, things have gone far too long. And your body is screaming, stop doing X, Y, or Z because it's absolutely destroying me. And that's when people start to come in. It's not because people are in pain. People do a lot of stuff while they're in pain. They function through a lot of pain. But when that pain stops them from doing something that they need to do, or more likely what they want to do, then they don't come in. Then they come in, right? It takes pain causing them to stop doing something they have to do or want to do before they actually come in. So I'm going to urge you, at the first sign of pain, get in. Heck, before you have pain, go see your chiropractor. You'd be surprised how much better you'll function. Now, function is far more of your nervous system than pain, believe it or not. And that's why we care more about functional scales. We do things like posture, range of motion. We do orthopedic, neurological, and chiropractic tests to see just how much of your function is delayed. One great functional test that I do is a squeeze test or a grip strength test. And you'd be surprised how many people will come in here and their dominant side is weaker than their non-dominant side. That's not a good thing. That tells me that the signal from the brain to the body is impinged, meaning pinched, meaning that signal's not getting through. And therefore, they have a weaker grip strength. It's really quite interesting. So, why is pain such a big thing? Well, everybody in this office has dealt with pain this week. Every one of our team. So, Crystal, last week, or I should say within the last month, we've all dealt with it. So we'll start with myself, okay? Just before we left to go to Florida, like the Thursday before we left Saturday, I tore something in my knee. It was excruciating pain. I couldn't kneel. Even on the table, like I use my knee as counterbalance sometimes. It's a cheat, so I don't have to turn the tension every time. So I use the counterbalance with my knee. I put my knee down, and it was probably an 8 out of 10 excruciating pain. Why didn't I say 10 out of 10? Because I've had pain that was worse. Okay, a 10 out of 10 pain is the worst pain imaginable. So a 10 out of 10 pain to me may be very different than to you, but a 10 out of 10 to me may be very different than a 10 out of 10 pain to somebody who has been in the service. If we have somebody who's been in the military service and they have multiple Purple Hearts because they've been shot several times or blown up, their level 10 pain is probably my level 3000, right? Or their level 5 pain might be my level 10 because they've done and dealt with so much more. So when somebody comes in and we have to use that pain scale, I hate it. Because a pain scale on a 0 to 10, meaning 0 is no pain and 10 is the worst imaginable pain that you've ever received or could ever receive, a lot of people don't realize how much something can hurt. So let's get back to the pain that we've all dealt with. So the knee, right, for me, that was an 8 out of 10. That was excruciating pain. It sucks. I'm still dealing with it now. We're coming up on almost a month. We're 3 weeks out from that injury. Tomorrow will be, or 2 days from now will be 3 weeks out. Maybe 4. Anyways, I'm still rehabbing it. I'm still working on it. Crystal's still yelling at me when I have my knee in extension, right? It's a good thing because I need that. I need that helpful reminder. And then shortly after that, we get back from Florida and Crystal busts a tooth. And she's, where would you put that, Crystal? 0 to 10.
I was probably about a 9.
So she was about a 9, she said. So again, her 9 might be my 4. It might be my 10. I don't know. Pain is on a relative scale relative to you. Okay? So she was in a lot of pain. We ended up having to go to see a dentist to have her tooth extracted. And it was a couple-day process. Not fun. Okay? And then Thursday last week, Alyssa, in our wonderful Michigan weather, slipped and strained her back. And she was in excruciating pain as well. And what did everybody do? Did I get adjusted? Yes. I got checked and adjusted accordingly. Has Crystal been checked and adjusted? Yes. Why? Because, well, when you're having your teeth worked on, your neck gets a little bit messed up more times than not. Has Alyssa gotten checked and gotten worked on? Yes. Why? Because it's critically important when you have a muscle sprain or strain. Muscle sprain, ligamentous strain, I think is how it goes anyways. If you have an injury to that system, you better get checked because it can pull your vertebra way out of whack and cause a slew of problems. So, let's get back to how much of your nervous system feels pain. When we talk about the nervous system, we have to talk about there are 3 different types of your nervous system. Did you know that? There's a sensory side of your nervous system. That would be the side that pain's on, right? It sends a sensory signal. There's a motor side of your nervous system. That would be like moving a hand, right? And then there's the autonomic nervous system. This is the nervous system within our viscera or inside your body, like this goes to your lungs, to your liver, to your spleen, to your kidneys, to your intestines, etc., etc., etc. Okay? It is something that you do not have to think about to do. You don't think about, I need to take a breath. I need to exhale that breath. Can you imagine how sucky day-to-day life would be if we had to think to breathe? Or think, beat, 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 to make sure our heart keeps going? That would suck, right? So that type of thing is your internal or your autonomic nervous system, okay? Things you do not have to think about. So when you look at all of that, 6%, 0.6% of your nervous system deals with pain. It is primarily on one fiber. There's a little bit that travels on a different fiber, but primarily on one fiber, and it's called the delta fiber. What's interesting about your different fibers of your nervous system is you have myelinated and you have unmyelinated. If you think about myelinated, it's like having a copper wire that has insulation around it, okay? And the insulation has little tiny gaps ever so often in there, and what that does is it causes an arc of that electrical pulse to jump from space to space, okay? So if that's the case, think of a runner running in a sprint. Are their strides quite large? Yes, their strides are quite large, right? And they get there quite fast. Now take that same person and make them walk that by touching their heel to their toe, their heel to their toe as they walk. So they're only allowed to walk by touching the foot together, always having to be on the ground at all times, always in contact, only allowing to go by heel to toe. Which one gets to the end first? I think it's pretty obvious, right? The runner would get to the end. The one who's in a sprint would get to the end first. Well, that's part of your nervous system that senses things like moisture, proprioception, where our bodies are in space. That's how I can do this and not hit myself, right? Because I know where my head is and I know where my hands are. It sends signal about air pressure, about temperature, vibration. All these different signals are all faster to the brain because they all run on that alpha or beta fiber instead of running on the delta. And they are all running quickly. And pain is that guy that's step, 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 right? This is why when you hit your thumb, because you're trying to put a nail in the wall to hang a picture, and you miss, and you hit your thumb, that's why you bring your hand back and you wave it, and you probably say a few choice words about it too, but you're waving your hand. Because that sends multiple signals. One, it sends proprioceptive signal. Two, air pressure signal. Maybe you're going to grab it and hold on to it. That's pressure. All of those things are faster to the brain than your pain signal. So you're actually deadening the signal or reducing the pain signal to the brain by doing that. And we do that with this special word called innately. Innately is an inborn intelligence within us that is not learned. It just happens instinctually, okay? And if you do that, those innate visceral responses, visceral is another word for from within, right? That you do not control, those responses are primitive in nature. They come from the limbic system in your brain. It's really kind of cool that our bodies know how to exist even if we don't realize it. And pain is such a small part of it. This is why when you have pain, not if, let's face it, you will have pain throughout your life. Everybody does. You can't get away from it, okay? So when you have pain, things could be potentially so bad that the nerve is completely compressed and you're finally hitting those delta fibers. And that sucks. Or it could be that it's barely touching the nerve and barely touching the delta fibers. That's what I hope, but that's usually not the case, right? So if you experience pain, it could be very, very late in the process, and you should go get checked ASAP. If you don't have pain, you should go get checked ASAP. Why? Let's keep you from ever having it. Or if you have it, let's make sure that it's not nearly as severe as it would be if your spine were in a subluxated or misaligned state. So I hope you guys have learned something from this. And I hope what you do is you reach out to your friends and family and you tell them, listen, I just learned that pain is only 6% of your nervous system and you complain a lot about how much pain you're in. You really need to get checked, right? Or, man, my kids, oh my gosh, they've fallen so much learning to walk. I bet that must mess with their structural system, their spine. I should get them checked. Or I need to tell my nieces to get checked. Or my sister or brother to get their kids checked. And if you're in northern Michigan, give us a call. That's what we do. We check spines and we educate minds. So I hope you all are having a beautiful evening. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic week. And as always, I will see you later this week and early next week for your chiropractic adjustments. Thank you very much and have a beautiful evening. Bye-bye.